Welcome, everyone, to the latest edition of Low on the Go, your sports fix. I'm Russ Lowe, your host, and it is time for an NFL preview on this Sunday, September 6th. Glad to have you with us. Coming up, we're going to take a look at some of the off-season stories that kept the NFL relevant during the recent off-season. We're going to take a look at some of the top coaches within the league that are going to be challenged to perform this year. We'll have some bold predictions for the season, and we're also going to have some conference breakdowns. We're going to have one thing to say about all 32 teams in the NFL. So let's jump right in and talk about some things. Let's begin with some of those off-season stories, and of course the biggest one had to be the Deflategate situation with Tom Brady. That situation has finally come to a head. Just days ago, the league decided, actually Judge Berman decided in a court, that Tom Brady is relevant to play. He can play and not miss any games. And Roger Goodell says he's going to appeal the suspension on behalf of the NFL. I think they just need to let sleeping dogs lie and let Brady come back and assume his leadership position within for the Patriots. This was a long, drawn-out drama, and it needs to be over with completely. So Tom Brady back at the helm, and all is well within the football world once again as he returns. Hopefully this saga will be over. Another offseason story had to do with RG3, Robert Griffin III, and something is going on there. There's a disconnect within that whole organization that is causing RG3 to have some sort of problem. I don't know if it's his own mentality or if it's the mentality within the team, or it may be a combination of the two. But RG3 had a great rookie year after winning the Heisman Trophy at Baylor University, comes into the league, has a great rookie season, gets injured in his second year, and hasn't been the same since. I don't know if he's fragile, if he's concerned about, furthering the injuries. I'm not sure what's going on there, but there's a disconnect, and now he's been demoted to quarterback number 2 on the team in favor of Kirk Cousins. What does this do to his psyche entering this new upcoming season? We will certainly see what drama unfolds in the nation's capital with the Redskins this year. Another offseason story was the return of Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson went through some offseason drama where he was accused of child abuse with his young son in a disciplinary issue that was certainly taken too far. He has learned from that situation, and with many situations that we find, whether it involves violence of some sort, drug use, or anything else, it seems like fans are ready to just forget that it happened and allow him back in. And that's usually the way of things in the sports world. So Adrian Peterson gets to come back, and he's already promising a record-breaking season as he returns as the top running back for the Minnesota Vikings. The other offseason story was Ray Rice and his situation, which was similar in a respect that it was also involving a domestic abuse situation. This was, of course, his fiancee, now wife, who he was seen beating with one single punch in a video. This situation was loaded. Ray Rice has done his he's gotten over this situation, and he too has bounced back in his own way. He's trying to find work still yet. No one wants to take a chance on him. We'll see what happens. We'll see if it gets picked up at any point during this season. But those were some of the off-season stories and personalities that kept the NFL relevant during the break. Now let's take a look at some top coaches. And these are 5 guys that I think you're going to be looking at for results this year. And I'm not saying they have to prove themselves. In fact, all 5 of these coaches are among the best, and they're 5 of my favorites. But I do want to see if these coaches can bounce back. Of course, Bill Belichick, the defending Super Bowl champion New England Patriots, the offseason drama with Tom Brady and Deflategate. Belichick always seems to get the best results out of his players. He's almost like the Nick Saban for the NFL. He coaches. He's just a grassroots, fundamental kind of guy that always seems to get the best results out of his players. Even if they're not the very best talents, he always gets the utmost out of them, and you've got to respect the man for that. He's quiet. He's a little eccentric at times, but he gets results. And as long as he does that, Bob Kraft is going to keep him in place. He may win another couple of Super Bowls before his career is over, and this year may be as good as any to repeat. Chip Kelly at Philadelphia, this man is an anomaly to me. He is a total mystery. Chip Kelly always seems to be putting questionable calls out there as far as what he does for his staffing for his team, but he always seems to come out smelling like a rose. Chip Kelly, I think, is one of the best innovative, creative head coaches out there, and I think he's going to get results. And every time he does something, you scratch your head, you think, what's going on here? But he always gets those results, and Philadelphia could be on their way up to some big things. Pete Carroll in Seattle, I know a lot of people are still holding last year's Super Bowl debacle against him where, the pass was intercepted and a lot of people wanted him to run the ball in from a yard out with Marshawn Lynch. I get that. But Pete Carroll still knows what he's doing, folks. He's not slipping. He's still one of the best head coaches in the game. He's a player's coach. He loves his job. You can see it on the sidelines. He's cutting up. He doesn't take himself too seriously, yet he still manages to get complete results out of his players. And I think his players respect him, and he's done a wonderful job in Seattle. They've had a top-notch defense, and he's been able to get a lot out of his players as well. They have performed for him because I think they like him, and that makes a difference. Another coach that I think is very well received by his players is Andy Reid at Kansas City. Kansas City is not always one of the top contenders each year, but they're a gritty, blue-collar, hard-working team, and Kansas City has always had a foundation of defense. They've always been tough. When you've got Tamba Hali, Justin Houston, some of these other big play guys that are performance enhancers, so to speak, because literally Justin Houston led the league last year in sacks, and Andy Reid is another one of those coaches. He's a lot like Pete Carroll. He gets the results out of his players, does an incredible job there. And my other favorite is Jeff Fisher at St. Louis. I think some special things are on the way for the Rams, and I think it'll start this season, as you'll hear in my bold predictions here momentarily. Jeff Fisher was a great coach at Tennessee, and I have a feeling that when he left the Titans, that was the decline of that organization, and he has been an enhancement. He has been something special for the Rams since he's been there. He's always been a no-nonsense coach. He, too, is performance-driven, and he loves to coach this game. He enjoys it, and he is a part of that St. Louis Rams organization that's going to get some things done coming up this year. All right, let's hit some bold predictions for the season, and these are just flat-out my own predictions, what I believe is going to happen this year, just some random hit-or-miss things coming up here. The first of which is that I think the worst record in the league, no matter who the quarterback is still going to belong to the Washington Redskins. As I said moments ago, I think there's a complete disconnect there, and I think it has something to do with the whole organization from the ground up. I'm not really sure what to think of this group. They seem to be totally dysfunctional, and it begins with Daniel Snyder as the owner. Maybe there's a lot of negative press also with the whole Redskins nickname. That has certainly gotten a great amount of fury and reaction from fan bases all over the country. And this is something that's going to be a problem. It's going to continue to be a problem because you live in a sensitive society now that takes that to heart. But with that issue there, I think it just leads to more implosion, more lack of trust, more lack of faith in the system there. And I think the Redskins, even with Kirk Cousins at the helm, are still going to wind up with the worst record in the league. Okay, I've got the Dolphins, the Vikings, the Rams, and the Falcons all making the playoffs this year. I think all these teams are going to make wonderful strides, and a lot of it is going to have to do with each team's quarterback. Ryan Tannehill has got some maturity going on there. He's growing up. He's done well in the league. I think he's going to make some real strides. Another one is going to be Teddy Bridgewater. I think in his second year, he's going to come out and he's going to be like gangbusters. I think he's going to open things up, and that Vikings offense is going to flourish. It's going to be exciting, no dull moments. They've got a lot of weapons going on there, and there should be some improvement. Nick Foles, he's with the Rams now. We're going to get to see him open up. Jeff Fisher is going to give control to him to do a lot of great things, and the Rams have a lot of playmakers as well. You know, you're talking about Todd Gurley maybe coming in there and competing for Rookie of the Year. Once he is well, he may get to start from the beginning of the season, but if not, he'll jump right in and he'll make things happen. Trey Mason coming in from Auburn. Hopefully he'll have another good year. He finished last year very strong. You've got special teams weapons like Tavon Austin, and Brian Quick should be back from an injury that kept him out most of the year. So you've got a quick-based team in St. Louis that should accomplish a lot. And, hey, Atlanta, a special season in store there, folks, because what you're looking at there is Matt Ryan, who's been a vastly improving quarterback each and every season. You've also got Julio Jones, who's one of the widest, most pertinent threats for the deep ball going downfield. They finally have a running game in Atlanta too, folks. That's something that they've sort of been hit or miss with Steven Jackson and his in and out with injuries. But now you've got Devontae Freeman, you've got Tevin Coleman, the rookie coming in from Indiana. You've got a pertinent running game with the Falcons as well. This next prediction pains me to say, but I think it's going to be not only necessary, but I think it's going to be true, folks. I think Peyton Manning is about to enter in his last year of major full-time playing the NFL. Peyton just recently stated a couple of weeks ago that he can no longer feel, he no longer has any feeling in his fingertips. That's a dangerous thing. If you don't have the sensation, you can't feel, and now he has to wear a special glove to grip the ball to be able to throw it. His throws during the preseason have not been as accurate, and I know you can still throw the ball. Not every pass has to be a perfect spiral. I realize that, but these are things that Peyton has prided himself in over the years, and now we're seeing a little more labored effort. And we already have a quarterback who virtually cannot scramble from the pocket at all. And he's got a young offensive line around him. I think Peyton's going to get beat up a little bit this year. I'm not saying he's going to get injured and put out, but he's going to feel the effects of Father Time catching up to him. And I think Peyton's going to call it quits after this season. Marvin Lewis, I think his luck has run out, the head coach for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's gotten his team to the playoffs, but they've not been able to accomplish a playoff win. I think it's going to catch up to him. I think this year Marvin Lewis and the Bengals will miss the playoffs, and Marvin Lewis will be fired at the end of the season. That organization has been really patient with him and the in-and-out injuries that have happened with the Bengals. They've had a lot going on. A.J. Green's been injured. Vontaze Burfict is one of the biggest stars on their defense, and he's certainly been in and out this season. But you've got to eventually do something with the quarterback position as well. And Andy Dalton has been very underwhelming at that position in his tenure there with the Bengals. And it's going to cost Marvin Lewis, I'm afraid. And I think Amari Cooper is going to be the NFL Rookie of the Year, folks. He is a devastating sensation to watch. Of course, many of us know him from playing at Alabama. He comes in this year. He's got a tremendous second-year quarterback that loves to chuck the ball. He loves to throw the deep ball. Derek Carr can get him the ball, and Amari Cooper can outrun most people. So I think a lot of defenders are going to get left in the dust, and Amari Cooper is going to have a special season, special enough to win the Rookie of the Year for the NFL. All right, now let's take a look at our AFC and NFC predictions for the season. And we're going to do that. We're going to take a look at the seeds and everything. These are my official predictions for the year. In the AFC, I think New England's going to win the AFC East. I think the other teams are going to challenge. Miami and Buffalo getting better. The Jets trying to slowly improve. Patriots will win the AFC East again. The Colts are going to win the AFC South. They're really the only team that can really get it done there. They'll be the 2 seed. Denver will win the 3 seed as the AFC West champions, overcoming the other teams that are still trying to step it up in the AFC West. Pittsburgh will win the AFC North. They'll be the 4 seed. The wild cards will be Baltimore at 5 and Miami. The Dolphins coming in at number 6. I have Denver over Miami in the wild card, with Pittsburgh defeating Baltimore. Then in the divisional round, I've got the Patriots beating the Steelers and the Colts once again defeating the Broncos. That will make the AFC Championship game Indianapolis against New England. And I think Indianapolis, with their wealth of wide receivers and the consistent, even-minded, wonderful play of Andrew Luck, will get the job done for the Colts this year. He's got too many weapons to not be able to get this done. I think we're about to see the official passing of the torch. We've seen Brady and Manning dominate for years. Now I think it's going to be Andrew Luck's turn to take the spotlight. I think he's ready to get it. Now at the NFC, I think Green Bay wins the NFC North. They'll be the 1 seed. Seattle will once again win the NFC West. They'll be the 2 seed. Philadelphia, I think, will come in and dominate and win the NFC East as the 3 seed. Atlanta, as a 4 seed, will win the South, and that means the wild cards, in my opinion, are going to be the Rams and the Vikings. I think they get in as well this year in the 5 and 6 seeds, respectively. I've got Philadelphia over Minnesota and St. Louis over Atlanta in the wild cards. In the divisional round, I've got Green Bay over St. Louis and Philadelphia over Seattle. Then I've got Philadelphia over Green Bay in the NFC. And I've got Philadelphia representing the NFC in the Super Bowl and defeating the Colts. That's right. My Super Bowl 50 official pick is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles over the Indianapolis Colts to win the Super Bowl this year. Not only that, ladies and gentlemen, let me break down I had this in my bold predictions, but I wanted to save it because I didn't want to blow my Super Bowl pick too soon in the broadcast. The Eagles will win the NFC East by week 14. They're going to win the NFC title, and they are going to win Super Bowl 50. I think when you've got Chip Kelly in place, and assuming that Sam Bradford stays healthy, he's got a plethora of young receivers. They've got a running game. They've got all the pieces in place to get some things done this year. I think it's going to happen. You've got Jordan Matthews taking over the top receiver spot now that Jeremy Maclin's in Kansas City. You've got USC rookie sensation Nelson Aguilar, who's coming in. He's probably going to get used right off the bat. Philadelphia has a gritty defense. Their fans are very passionate. I think you put all that together, and the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl this year over the Colts. Now let's take a look at some quick headlines that each team needs to look at. A one-sentence look at each team and what they need to do. For the Patriots, it's going to be all about Brady's return, fueling the team to a Super Bowl berth. Everybody knows he's officially in the pocket now. Let's see what can happen. For Miami, Tannehill needs to continue to show growth and be a leader. Can he get that done? Can he take the reins of the team and run it his way? In Buffalo, you've got a devoted fan base that is energized by Rex Ryan and what he's done, what he's brought in. Kept the defense relevant, kept them powerful, brought in a lot of weapons. LaShawn McCoy at running back. You've got E.J. Manuel and Tyrod Taylor are going to be the 1-2 punch for quarterback. For the Jets, they've just got to continue to play ball without being cursed. With Rex Ryan gone, with Mark Sanchez gone, there's still bad luck hitting this team. Can they ever escape it? We'll find out. There may be some drama there this year as well. Pittsburgh, can the Steelers' offense roll again in 2015 like it did last year? Ben Roethlisberger had 2 500-plus yard passing games, and Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell were 2 of the biggest offensive threats of the year. Can they keep that going? In Baltimore, the offense needs to match the reputation that the defense has had, and they need to produce some things this year. Baltimore has gotten by with 17-point games this year in years past, and they need to do better than that. Coming into this year, there's going to be a lot more competition. They're going to have to score some more points. Marvin Lewis needs to get over the hump in Cincinnati. McCown ruling. Can McCown rule for Cleveland, or will Johnny Manziel be called upon to jump in? You're going to have a young quarterback battle going on there for the Browns. Not much else happening for this team. Their defense is stout, but they're going to have to start producing as well. They're sort of like Baltimore in that regard. The Colts, can Luck take the torch and win the big ones? Can he finally take over the kingdom, so to speak, from Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and be the new top dog? Houston, can their offense match their defensive production? In Jacksonville, can they be competitive at all? Blake Bortles in his second year. You've got Marquise Lee, the talented wide receiver. You've got Julius Thomas coming in. He's going to miss the first 3 or 4 games with an injury. But can these guys play hard and be competitive in their division? Will Marcus Mariota be the savior? Can he lead and succeed with the Titans this year? In Denver, can Peyton bounce back? Can he prove his detractors wrong? In San Diego, can Phillip Rivers survive a rough season? He usually gets bumped and tumbled all over the place. And will their run game help them improve their offense as well? In Oakland, you've got pieces in place, but can they grow together? Can you put everything together and start making headway in that tough AFC West? In Kansas City, will Jamal Charles finally get some help with receivers catching the ball and scoring the ball there for the Chiefs? Philadelphia, can Chip Kelly continue to get results with all the questionable moves? He seems to always make things work out. We'll see if that happens. Can Dallas match last year's success? We'll find out about that. Can Eli settle his game down for the Giants and help Tom Coughlin keep his job? Eli threw a lot of interceptions last year. He's going to have to settle his game down if the Giants want to contend. And in Washington, what's going to be the drama there? Is it going to be Kirk Cousins only? Will RG3 get a chance to start again? We'll see what happens with that. In Green Bay, Jordy Nelson's injury could impact Aaron Rodgers' game and the overall production of the offense. We'll see how that turns out. Can Matt Stafford and Calvin Johnson stay upright and healthy for a season-long run for the Detroit Lions? Can Bridgewater continue to show maturity for Minnesota? Can John Fox help Jay Cutler improve his erratic play and his standing with the Bears? In Atlanta, can Dan Quinn add a running game and strengthen the defense for the Falcons? Will key departures sink the team in New Orleans with Graham, Stills, and Thomas all gone now? In Carolina, can Cam do more without Kelvin Benjamin? That takes a huge, huge cog out of their offensive plan. We're going to have to see if they can bounce back from that. In Tampa Bay, you've got an exciting young roster. Can they make waves all year? Can they keep the focus and keep climbing up the division? In Seattle, can Russell Wilson and Jimmy Graham continue to be strong with their changing roles within the team? You got to think Wilson will be required to run less, and Graham will be required to do some, more than likely he's going to be doing some red zone receiving for touchdowns. Can Nick Foles stay consistent and the defense keep its intensity for the Rams? They've been known as a defensive team. Let's see if they can continue that strong work there and see if Nick Foles can be kept upright long enough to score the ball. In San Francisco, the lackluster offense and the defections on defense, will that sink the team that has a new head coach, or can they bounce back? And in Arizona, can Carson Palmer recapture last year's strong start before the injury? Remember, he was hurt about 8 games into the season. They'd only lost 1 game, and then you had a bit of a collapse after he left last year. If he can stay healthy, the Cardinals have a chance because they always have a pretty good defense. So that's a pretty good look at the NFL season. I anticipate that this is going to be one of the biggest and most fun NFL seasons that we've seen in quite some time. I think it's going to be wild, and a lot of new teams are going to be jumping into the mix and getting their feet wet in the playoffs for the first time in a while. Well, there it is. That is your NFL preview, episode 3, on this Sunday, September 6th. I'm Russ Lowe, thanking you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, and hit me up, loweonthego73@gmail.com, and we'll see you next time right here on Lowe on the Go, and get your sports fix at that time. So long, everybody. Have a good one.